Hey Raider Nation, is Joseph for Zenny62. Just 4 more days till we take on the New England Patriots with Cam Newton as quarterback. Um, but before we get into that, or, to be honest, I'm not going to even discuss that. There are some thoughts on my mind with regards to specifically Trent Brown and Jon Gruden, but let's talk about Trent Brown. So we know that in the last 18 games, he played about 10. And we know that he probably played the first 3 snaps, if that, or maybe the first quarter when we played the Panthers. I forgot exactly what it was. And obviously didn't play with the New Orleans Saints. But an interesting thing that I observed on Monday Night Football is that there was more than a few times that the camera showed him off on the sidelines. He wasn't around any of his teammates. He wasn't around cheering his teammates. He seemed really solemn, and I don't know if that's his general character. When I look at photos when he first signed with the Raiders, this guy was all smiles. And so I don't know if that look that he had in his face is because he's not out there playing or because he's injured. Or maybe there's something else. I know that rumors are just flying that the Raiders are getting frustrated with Trent Brown and he's having some issues with the Raiders. Now, when they say with the Raiders, I could only assume it's with Jon Gruden because, players tend to stick together and kind of rally around each other. But if you saw Trent Brown, he was away from his teammates. He was just standing there, looked like he didn't care. Looked like he wasn't even focused on the game. And I started looking at his Twitter account, and his Twitter account says nothing about the NFL season, the Raiders, even on his taglines, he doesn't mention the Raiders. It has information for his business. Although, I do know on Twitter he does have his Raider picture, number 77. But other than that, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem. But that's just something I found a little odd. Maybe that's just his demeanor, the way he goes about things. But that's a little disturbing to me. I just didn't like that sense I got from why he wasn't around his teammates. Why wasn't he rallying around them? Why wasn't he part of the Raiders on Monday Night Football? He seemed like way far away from the team. And usually that's not the case when you have an injured player. He's around his teammates. He's trying to rally them up. I don't know. There's something going on there that obviously we don't know about, but it's just something I want to bring up and bring to your attention. And the second thing is Jon Gruden. We found out, and I mentioned this earlier, that he admitted that he had COVID-19. Evidently, it was in July. And so none of the media knew, none of the fans knew. Obviously, he probably spoke to Mark and Mike Mayock about it. But we didn't know as fans, nor did the media. And that's why maybe that push, he says, we got to fight it, we got to beat this, this is deadly. This is a bad virus. I've known people with the virus. He was probably talking about himself when he made those comments during training camp. But the one thing that I see with the NFL, and specifically with all the NFL, but since I'm only concerned with the Raiders, is that Raider Nation, we have to do a better job of covering our faces and not just have it under our noses, because guess what? That could be transmitted through your nose. And so you have to keep this all covered. And so, as you know, the Raiders were fined $250,000 as an organization, and so was Jon Gruden. He was fined $100,000 for not wearing the mask throughout the whole game on Monday Night Football, and so was the New Orleans Saints and Sean Payton, the coach for the New Orleans Saints. So there's a problem there where whatever problems you feel that you have of not properly being able to call out plays. Well, guess what? Andy Reid didn't have that problem. He readjusted his face mask that attaches to his hat or visor, And the new one that he got was fog proof, because if you saw, none of those problems occurred as they did in his first game. But it's big enough and wide enough where it goes over the brim and comes down, right? And it covers from your chin all the way up here. And the mic fits right under there. So who cares about how it looks like? These are the facts, and these are the things that we have to do right now with the COVID-19. So the great thing is that you could see their entire face. And so I think Jon Gruden needs to apply that face mask and take also consideration that Oakley made and designed specific face masks that none of the players are wearing to cover their front face, not just the eye area, but from the nose down, that wouldn't impede with not only viewing, but with breathing. So with NFL having a contract with Oakley or vice versa, why don't they go to Oakley and say, hey, our coaches need a face mask that covers but protects, as well as allows them to utilize the mic and not impede on what they're trying to relay when they're calling out plays? Why wasn't this thought of before? Because now you're fining coaches $100,000. That's stupid. And again, I reiterate, let's move on to Raider Nation. Raider Nation, I have pictures, and I want to show them here, of people not wearing the face masks in front of Allegiant Stadium on Monday night. They're gathered in groups right on top of each other, celebrating, drinking, and guess what? None of you had face masks. There were a few that did, but the majority of you didn't. How do we know the person that you just met who's partying with you in front of Allegiant Stadium? We don't know. You don't know their history. You don't know if they had it or they were asymptomatic and passing it to you, who may be more vulnerable. That's stupid. Use your head. If Jon Gruden got it, that should be a sign to you that wants to ignore the facts that this is in the air, that this is a deadly virus, that we need to protect ourselves. So I wanted to say those two things. But mainly, let's maybe have some dialogue. What do you think is wrong with Trent Brown? I don't know too much about him until he came to the Raiders. So I don't know if that's the same demeanor he displayed when he was with New England. And of course, the Raiders are kind of tight-lipped with it, but there are leaks coming out that the Raider organization is frustrated with Trent Brown. So I guess time will tell, and keep it here on Zenny62, and don't forget to like and subscribe.